Today in Cannabis News, latest statewide cannabis sales figures in Michigan are released. Kansas Democratic leaders discuss intentions to bring the issue of statewide cannabis legalization to the voters, and cannabis employees in Missouri file a petition for the state's first cannabis industry union election. It's Monday, January 10th, and this is your Trichomes Morning Buzz.
Broadcasting live from the Trichomes.com studios in Southern California, it's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
First up, as per new research from the Marijuana Policy Project that looked at tax income in states with recreational cannabis legalization since 2014, Michigan has earned roughly $271 million statewide in legalized recreational cannabis tax revenue since 2019. Medical cannabis tax revenue, registration, and licensure costs paid by cannabis enterprises, extra income taxes earned by cannabis employees, and corporate taxes paid to the federal government are not included in these calculations. The Michigan Treasury announced in March 2021 where recreational cannabis taxes received in fiscal year 2020 will go to. Aside from the nearly $10 million in disbursements to municipalities and counties, around $11.6 million will be sent to the School Aid Fund for K-12 education, and another $11.6 million to the Michigan Transportation Fund upon appropriation. The remaining $12.5 million amount will be used towards startup and administrative costs. In November 2018, Michigan voters adopted a ballot measure for statewide cannabis legalization and regulation. Purchases began initially in 2019, but soared in 2020.
Next up, Kansas Democratic leaders have stated that they will introduce measures to allow state voters to determine whether or not to legalize medical and recreational cannabis use statewide. The proposals were discussed by House Minority Leader Tom Sawyer and Assistant Minority Leader Jason Probst, who emphasized that residents are keen for legislative change and that the planned constitutional amendments would allow them to vote because the Republican majority state legislature has taken no action. The lawmakers pointed out that their proposed strategy is identical to one presented last week by Iowa State Democrats, which would similarly bring cannabis legislation to voters. In addition, legislators in a number of other states are attempting to get cannabis proposals on the ballot. I'm eager for people in Kansas to enjoy the same benefits that people have in other states, Representative Probst said. We are an island. We are surrounded by states who provide for their residents the things that they want. And Kansas, leadership in this building, has decided they know better than Kansans what they should have.
Last up, staff at a medical cannabis dispensary in St. Louis, Missouri are aiming to unionize in what may be the first representation election in the state's legalized cannabis sector, according to a union spokesperson. After a unionizing drive, employees filed a petition for a union election to the company's management and the U.S. National Labor Relations Board, according to Bernadette Foray, a product director at Suede Cannabis. Foray stated that 6 product directors have joined the planned negotiating group. She stated that as of late last week, the staff had not heard back from the company's management. According to Colin Reisman, spokesperson for Local 655 of the United Food and Commercial Workers, which is requesting to represent employees in bargaining proceedings, an election supervised by the NLRB is normally undertaken inside 45 days after filing. We really present this as an opportunity to the company to retain us long term. We love our jobs and we want to secure them into the future, but we want it to be through a contracted deal that we have in writing and that can't be changed without our authorization, Foray said, adding that we have to know that we have a seat at the table.
That was today's Buzz. Thanks for listening. For more cannabis news and insights from industry professionals and a place to discuss these stories and others, visit trichomes.com.
And be sure to catch up with all of our other cannabis industry-related podcasts like Hash It Out, Tech and Cannabis, or the International Cannabis Conversation wherever you get your podcasts. For trichomes.com, I'm Devin Liao.
And I'm RJ Balde, signing off.